Hello everyone. So today I did want to just do a just a little brief video on seed starting, just some of the things that you may need before starting your seeds. And for new gardeners, new growers who are trying to just kind of gather all their materials before getting started, and just maybe have a couple questions and or maybe just clarify some things within themselves before they get started. So if this is your interest, if this is what you've been wondering about, then stay tuned. All right, so for seed starting 101, I definitely want to kind of just go over what you need before you start planting your seeds. I did talk about this mix in a previous video, but I'm just going to go over really quickly. So again, your seed starting mix should consist of coco coir or peat moss if that's your choice. If you want to know about price, coco coir is a little bit more expensive than peat moss, depending on the size bag you get, but they both pretty much serve kind of like the same. They serve the same purpose when starting seeds, but to me, peat moss is a little bit more acidic. I use that more so for my blueberries or my berries, or even sometimes for my strawberries and things of that nature, and plants. It's okay for plants and vegetables and things of that nature, but I prefer coco coir. So there's coco coir, then there's your vermiculite, which you probably can't see because it kind of looks just like the perlite. Perlite is like the little white things that you see here, but vermiculite is pretty much the same. It's more of a kind of looks like it can be yellowish in tint. It could be some gold, sparkly particles in it. Both of those are for aeration, to keep the soil from compacting and letting the roots actually be able to just glide through the dirt, just like my fingers here. That's the purpose of the vermiculite and the perlite. And then your choice of compost. You can use a mushroom compost. You can use a manure type of compost, or you can use actually a food scrap compost. It's your choice. Okay. And then of course this also has just a little bit of fertilizer in it. Okay. So this is just my base. And then after that, I'm choosing to use like something like these little dome like trays. This one with the where you can open and close them. So to give you an example, this just opens and closes just like that. Okay, so if you want to let it air out or close it up completely. And then this is a 12-cell tray. You can use a 6-cell, you can use a 4-cell, you can use a 72-cell, you can use a 96-cell, whatever your preference is. I just prefer the domes because it's still winter. I don't know if you can see that outside for me. It's still winter. So for me, I prefer to use something with a dome to keep that humidity in, so that those seeds can have that consistent moisture and heat compacted inside. And so this is what I use. And these actually come out. And here is where I put my water in. I water from the bottom up. If you can see those holes right there, those holes suck the water through to kind of water my plants from the bottom up, because seedlings are so, they're very fragile to me. They can, you don't want to spray them and then or douse them with water or spray them too hard, because they can move, go too far deep into the soil if you want to kind of plant them on top and things of that nature. So I do a little spray, take a little spray bottle like this, and I do a little spray over them once I'm done. And then I still water from the bottom up, place my dome back on, and then once all of that is set, I will place them over there. As you can see, that section right there, those are some that are already planting. And if you look over there, that one was one of the, let me see if I can show you. So this set right here, this set has already been, they have been started for a while. So you can see that moisture inside of there. You see that humidity inside, the humidity inside of the domes. This one is not, it has a little spot of humidity over there, but they have not, it hasn't been there that long. I actually just placed it there. So I don't know if you can see that. See that little piece of humidity over there? Those are just been placed over there. These have been there for a couple days. Okay, so that's kind of where I placed them, under the grow lights over there in that section. And real quick before I try to end this video, I start them off, like I said, in these little cells. These are little cells. See how little those are? They're very tiny. And so once the seedlings have their true leaves, at least 2 true leaves, I'll up pot or transplant to a bigger pot. So either I'll transplant into those circular pots there, or I'll transplant into these little pots here. Let me just give one so I can get one so I can show you the size of these. So one of these, I'll transplant to one of these sizes, just obviously a little bit bigger than this. And depending on the plant, if I don't want to keep upsizing, I'll even go bigger. I'll even get like a bigger pot like this, or I'll get a bigger pot like that. So usually I upsize maybe 3 times. Start here, move there, sometimes even from there to here, and then from here to there, depending on what type of vegetable I'm planting. Okay, and so that's kind of what I wanted to let you know. It doesn't stay in this pot until you transplant it into your garden. You can up plant once those. You don't want your roots to become entangled or to be why am I losing the word for them? You don't want your roots to become. You don't want the plant to become root bound and have to disturb the roots too much, because if you ever went and bought plants from a nursery that's been sitting there for a while, you'll go and pick the plant up, and while this will look like it's all dirt once it's filled up, it'll be completely white because the roots they have nowhere to go, so they become compacted. And that's kind of what you want to prevent. You don't really want them to get to that point. You do want them to get to the point where you see healthy white roots, but you don't want them to be to the point where they're so compacted that the plant is struggling and you have to disturb those roots when you're up potting. So that's why you definitely want to. I like the clear cell so I can see. I do use these from time to time, but you can't see. So I like the ones that I can see, make sure my roots are okay, make sure they're healthy. You know, that kind of helps me know if I need to keep that plant or discard it. Okay. And then consistent moisture for your pots. You know, for your cells, for your pots here. You want to make sure they're consistently moist. Again, I like this one because I can put water in here and I can always check it. I just pick it up. I literally just scoop it up here, check to see the water, or fill it. I can shake it to see if there's any water in there. Then I use my little pot here. I'll pour water in the bottom of it just to keep it watered, and either open and close that vent depending on how hot it gets in here. This is a heated room in here. I also have an extra heater here, but there's, I don't know if you can see it down there. There's a vent there, so it does get a lot of heat in here, despite the windows not having any curtains on them. I chose to not put the curtains for extra sunlight. So when I don't want to use my grow lights and it's bright enough in here, it'll actually get that sunlight, especially for those that are in the windows. So I do use the windows as well. And that's for if I want to up pot. Okay. So that's pretty much just a little technique that I use. Nothing, that you probably haven't heard, but just giving you an idea. For these right here, for the green stalk ones that don't have the humidity dome, these I took off the clean, but I'll put them back. For those that don't have the humidity dome, it's not necessary to have it. You can easily just take that, just pop that right off if you want to, and just pop it right off if you want to. It's totally up to you. Disregard my watermelon right there. I eat watermelon every day. But you can definitely just take that right off of there. And you don't have to worry about buying the kind that has the switch dome. Second thing real quick when it comes to the domes, let's just say you can't find the domes, or you are worried about, I can't find the domes. Well, I have pots already. I don't want to buy domes. You don't have to. You don't have to. Just make sure they're consistently watered. Make sure there's consistent heat. You can use a heat pad. I don't use heat pads because this room is really, really warm. I keep it on average maybe between anywhere from 60 to 75 or less. Right now it's about 65-ish. And that's why I keep this room at all times. So as long as there's still warmth and it's still a lot of light and moisture, your plants will be fine. You don't have to have the domes. All right, so with that being said, start your seeds, everyone. Start from seed. In the beginning, it will cost you a little bit because you're buying seeds from everywhere. If you're like me, you'll buy seeds. You're just constantly buying seeds, books and seeds, just seeds everywhere. My seeds, seeds people have given me, but seeds that I have saved. Seeds everywhere. But the point is, you will eventually save money in the long run because one seed, one itty bitty seed, will give you hundreds of seeds. Just start somewhere. And if you're not comfortable starting yet, that's okay. If you're just really just trying to, get in the habit of gardening, that's fine too. But if you can, go ahead and start those seeds. At least your trial and error. Nothing is going to be 100% perfect. You're going to mess up. I did. I still do. But guess what? That's why you start multiple seeds. You start multiple seeds. Don't just start one or two, or heck, even don't be afraid to start 10. It's okay to throw them away. It's okay to put them in the compost. It's okay. And guess what? To me, I look at it just like that. If I have extra plants and I can't use them, and I'm like, man, in the beginning, I had a hard time just discarding plants. But I said, you know what? That's compost. Why not? That's compost. So go ahead and start those seeds and choose the healthier ones. But guess what? Hold on to them, because what if something happens? What if an animal gets a hold of them? What if they become infested with pests and things of that nature? You have extra seeds. So start those seeds. Happy growing, everyone.